All right, here's a lesson on solving quadratic inequalities by using algebra. So here's an example. It says solve the quadratic inequality x squared minus 4x plus 1 greater than 6 using algebra. So step one is we want to write the inequality as an equation. Now I'm going to go ahead and put it into standard form. So to put it in standard form, I would need to move that 6 to the left side. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6 from both sides. And my equation is going to be x squared minus 4x minus 5 equals 0. Step 2, we want to solve the equation to find the critical values. So we want to be able to factor that quadratic equation. So we're going to use our diamond. What are the factors of negative 5 that add to negative 4? And that is negative 5 and positive 1. So now we factor into two binomials. And we go ahead and use our zero product property. We set the first factor equal to 0. We solve it for x by adding 5 to both sides. So the second factor equal to 0. Solve for x by subtracting 1 from both sides. So if we were to identify the critical values, those would, if we were to graph a quadratic inequality as a parabola, those would be our x-intercepts, but this is not going to be a parabola. Then what we do is we need to test the critical points. So in this example here, I have the critical values on the number line, and then I'm going to choose my test points. So my test points I'm choosing on the number line are negative 2, 0, and 6. So I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite my equation. And I had it, my x-intercepts or my critical points were x equals 5 and x equals negative 1. So here's that critical point and here's that critical point. And we're going to go ahead and test. So who we test with is our inequality. So our inequality was x squared minus 4x plus 1. Is it greater than 6? So the first test point I'm going to choose is negative 2. And we sub it into our inequality. We simplify the left side. And we get 13 greater than 6. So we read that. Is 13 greater than 6? Yes, that's true. So we go ahead and put a plus symbol. Then we go to the next test point, 0. We substitute 0 into the inequality. We simplify it. We read it. Is 1 greater than 6? No, that's false. So we put a negative in that interval. Our last test point we're choosing is 6. We simplify it and we read it. Is 13 greater than 6? Yes, that's true. So we put a plus. Now we want to write our solution. So I'm just going to rewrite my number line here for a minute. And I had those critical points at negative 1 and 5. And remember that this was true, false, and true. So the solutions are the intervals where it is true. So I'm going to go ahead and say this region here is true and this region here is true. So now we write them as intervals. So the first interval that's true is negative infinity to negative 1. And then the second interval is from 5 to positive infinity. So those are our two solutions